Hi everyone, this video is on worksheet 3 on the cost of college. We're going to be inviting you to use some very real data to do this worksheet, and we're going to also invite you to do this as personalized as possible. So I know as we talk about the cost of college, some of you are thinking, hey, I'm not planning to go to college right away. And we've got a way for you to be able to complete this activity so that it's still personalized. If you are planning to go to college, we invite you to use real data to do these calculations. Use your actual tuition numbers. If you qualified for scholarships, use that number as well. Depending on the number of years you're planning to go, factor that into your calculations. Maybe you're saying, I'm not planning to go to college, or at least not right away. If you're planning it sometime down the line, go ahead and do some calculations for that hypothetical plan sometime out in the future. Maybe you're planning to take a year off, do the calculations for maybe 2 years from now. Let's say maybe you're not sure, you were undecided. Calculate what you maybe considered. And maybe you've decided college definitely isn't for me. We still want you to do a hypothetical calculation, and it may further solidify your decision for why you decided not to pursue that route. But we do want everybody to complete this assignment with real numbers and make it as personalized to you as possible. In a moment here, I'm going to switch gears to show you the data that you'll use and different scenarios that you can walk through to kind of simulate some different variations, because we know not everybody goes to college for 4 years and not everybody goes to the same college their entire time. So I'll show you those scenarios here in just a moment. So get your calculator ready and let's get started. All right, so we're going to get started with this first page. The goal of this first page is just to come up with an accurate number, or as accurate as we can make the number, to represent your calculation for what size of student loan package you'll need to take out for your particular college plan. And remember, I'm going to show you a basic version where you just go to the same school for 4 years first, and then we'll talk about how you can do some variations to make it fit your exact plan. So if you look at the top of the worksheet, you've got some annual tuition amounts for a variety of colleges, different types of colleges here in Ohio. You can choose from this list, but if your college doesn't appear on this list, I would encourage you to do just a little quick research. Just Google your college name and then search for annual tuition if yours is not on here. So once you've picked your college, either from this list or found the info online, just write down your college choice. You can say whether your chosen school is public or private. And then if you chose a college from off this list, jot down the annual tuition amount so that you have that data there to work with. All right. So on a basic level, essentially to calculate your total amount for tuition, you essentially just take that annual tuition amount and multiply it by 4 years. So for a very basic example, let's say I pick a middle of the road as far as price-wise college, like University of Akron looks like it's about in the middle. It's not the highest like some of these privates. It's not the cheapest like some of our community colleges listed on there. So let's say I pick that one. And I just do that amount times 4 to do the basic version if you're just going to be spending the same amount for each year and you're going to the same school the whole time. So I can type that into my calculator here, 12,795 times 4, and that gives me a total tuition amount. That would be something like this. Now, what this number doesn't take into account is if you qualified for any scholarships or if maybe you were going for a longer, shorter amount of time. So I'm going to move on to showing you some variations on how this could work if you were doing one of those scenarios. All right, so let's talk about some variations and how you can kind of personalize this number to make it best fit your particular college plan. So I've come up with a couple of different scenarios just to kind of show you how you can personalize these calculations. For this first scenario, let's say you're not planning to do 4 years of college, you're planning to do just 2 years instead. Maybe you're doing an associate's degree. So I picked out the tuition rate at OU, and instead of multiplying by 4, just multiply by 2. Pretty simple to adjust that down. What if you qualify for scholarships, or what if you earn some of those? Well, obviously scholarships are going to bring down the amount of money that you have to take a loan for, because scholarships don't have to be paid back. So I ran a scenario based on getting an annual scholarship of $1,000 at Miami. So I said, let's do a scenario where it's 4 years, still a 4-year program, but you got a $1,000 annual scholarship. Now, what that means is that you get this $1,000 every year. It could qualify for each of the years. Some scholarships are like that. Others are just a one-time grant or one-time scholarship. So if you calculate it like this, I basically just took the annual tuition. This was the Miami 1-year tuition amount, and then subtracted off the $1,000 scholarship to get me this number. And then that's the number that I multiplied by 4 years. If you need help working with a scholarship that you've got, you can email me and I can kind of talk you through a little bit more of the variations on that. What about if you're planning to do college at 2 different locations? Maybe you think, I'm going to go to a community college for a couple of years to get started and then finish up and transfer at a different college. So I did a scenario like this: 2 years at UC Blue Ash and then 2 years at UC Main Campus. So to calculate that, you just take the Blue Ash tuition, multiply by 2, the UC Main Campus tuition, multiply by 2, and then add those together. You could do that with a combination of any schools, 3 years and 1 year, any of those variations. Last but not least, some of you guys might be thinking about 5-year programs. For example, like nursing or business schools often do 5-year programs. So I did one more scenario of a 5-year program in nursing at Xavier. Xavier's private, so that is a pretty big number for its annual tuition. And for 5 years, that turns out to be very expensive. But keep in mind, this is before you do any sorts of student loans or any grants for those programs. So this number could come down quite a bit with some of those added in there. But hopefully that gives you a few ideas on how you can calculate your own scenario based on your particular plan for college. So I'm going to invite you to pause the video right now, do some calculations, pick out the college that you're going to use, and figure out this number here. And if you use a college that's not on the chart, make sure you list that tuition down here. And if you do one of these variations where it's not just 4 times your annual tuition, if you do one of those variations with scholarships or something like that, jot down a little bit of your work kind of in this blank space down here at the bottom so I can see how you came to your big number. But go ahead, pause the video, get a little number going there, and then restart when you're ready to move on from there. All right, so now that you have your number figured out here, however you've done that calculation, taking into account your scholarships, taking into account your particular plan for your years of higher education, you're going to take this number. This is representing how much you are going to need to get student loans for. So this is the number that you're going to need to finance. You're going to take this number, copy it up here at the top, whatever number you have on that back page there. And then this number is now going to become your loan amount when you go to your Bankrate website to do the financial math calculations. So that number is going to come right on down here in each of these scenarios. Now, you're going to run this through for 3 different possible loans. We've got a mix of private and government loans represented in here. We've got a mix of rates, a mix of loan terms as well. So you can see again how those things affect your financing plans. Each time you're going to use the same loan amount, but you'll need to read through the loan description up here to pick out the rate and to pick out the number of years. So for this first one, the rate was 6.99%. This is a 10-year loan. So remember, loan number of years goes there, and then multiply that by 12 to get your number of months. Now remember, you'll go to that online calculator. You'll enter this information in. That will give you your payment. So that'll be your monthly payment that you'll be calculating in that first blank. Then remember, for letter B, you're saying how much money you've paid back to the bank at the end of the loan. Remember, you take your monthly payment and multiply it by your number of months, aka the length of your loan in months. So I take whatever my monthly payment was here, and in this case, multiply it by 120. That tells me how much money goes to the bank. And then remember to answer letter C, just like we've been doing throughout this unit. To figure out how much interest you've paid to the bank, you'll subtract off your loan amount. So you'll take B minus your loan amount, and that will get you your interest, which is letter C's answer. So you're going to do this for 3 loans. You've got the terms of each loan at the top of each scenario in those boxes. So you'll fill that in each time around and then do those calculations.